Thank you all for being. The future of diagnostics is promising. With new technologies that continue to develop, we can expect to see significant improvements in patient outcomes and overall healthcare delivery. Our next round of panelists will discuss what lies ahead in the future of diagnostics industry. I would like to invite, with a big round of applause, Mr. Sanjeev Vashishta, Managing Director and CEO, Pathkind Diagnostics. Dr. Reena Nakra, Principal Director, Lab Management and Technical Excellence, Lab Operations. Dr. ARJUN Dan, Chief Executive Officer and Partner, Dr. Dan's Lab. Mr. Kabir Mahajan, Associate Director, Mahajan Imaging and Labs. Dr. Aakaar Kapoor, CEO and Lead Medical Advisor, City X-ray and Scan Clinic, Partner, City Imaging and Clinical Labs. Now I request Dr. ARJUN Dan to please take over this session from here.
A very, very warm welcome to everybody today. And this morning when I woke up, I saw myself in the mirror and found myself to have a very bad eye infection. So this is a sign. And I woke up and I thought that I'll go here in a car and tell them, sorry, I can't make it today. But since this is VOH, and VOH is a very special, and I always love all of their events, I was like, chance hi nahi hai, I will go. My wife did suggest, wear sunglasses and sit there. But I was like, I can't do sunglasses in this kind of a setup. But I'm still here and looking forward to having a very, very nice session with all my esteemed panelists. And I think this is a topic that all of us have heard a lot about, spoken a lot about, we keep reading about it a lot also. And when the topic came for this panel discussion, actually I said to myself, फिर से we are going to discuss about the future of diagnostics. But then I saw the panelists and I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. So without much ado, I'm going to go ahead with setting the context and then also the questions to all the panelists. And I think all that we've heard about these days and in the past year post the pandemic also is the great opportunity that diagnostics market had for the various organizations there. I think apart from the opportunities also, there is a huge challenge that actually is going to come up in the next years. And I was just going through some data and I found something that the shortage of pathologists is immense. And I just noted down this data, but it seems that all over the world there are 1 lakh pathologists and about 1.3 million doctors. So that's about 1 pathologist plus 1 pathologist every 125 medical doctors. So actually this was quite staggering. Even in the US you see there are 50 pathologists per 1 million people, Europe is 25 pathologists per 1 million people, and then Asia is 7 pathologists per million people. India has 3 lakh laboratories and about 5,000 MD pads. So I actually felt quite cool that I'm one of those 5,000 people, but otherwise the shortage is there and this shortage will increase. And how can we leverage tech and how can we leverage the various tools, how can we leverage collaboration with the government in order to actually give India or Bharat what it deserves, and that is the best in healthcare. So I'm quickly going to start with my first question to Sanjeev sir. Sir, it's a great pleasure having you here. And I think post the pandemic, all of us have learned that working with the government is obviously very good for the nation. During the pandemic also, all of us played our bit where there were samples being poured in and we did try our best to give the best stat and process the maximum samples. But sir, in your opinion and your vast experience in the industry, how can we leverage PPPs that are public-private partnerships to improve access to diagnostics in India, and particularly for the marginalized communities and those living in far-off remote areas?
So thanks Arjun, and it's a privilege to be at this forum organized by VOH, and of course amidst at least if not more 3 pathologists if I'm not mistaken. So very feeling very honored and privileged, very rare species in today's times. So very pertinent question. So I mean imagine a country which is of our size and scale, with about 27 states, quite about actually 27 states and 8 union territories, 762 districts, 8,000 cities and towns, and about 6,25,000 villages. This is the kind of country we are, a very diverse country. And if you talk about the healthcare system, perhaps the best in the world. Now, you'll be surprised as to what I'm talking about. I got gone bonkers. No, that is not the case. Look at the structure, the way we are organized. At the grassroots level, at the village level, we have got what we call as the, those below the PHCs, we have got sub-centers. And there are about 160,000 sub-centers. Then we have got over 31,000 PHCs, 5,700 CHCs, 1,200 sub-divisional hospitals and 1,800 district hospitals. Now, over and above this, we have got state level hospitals and also the national level hospitals, AIIMS and all. Now, why am I sharing this data with you? It is very, very pertinent in today's times to ensure that this infrastructure, which is with the government, it doesn't go unutilized or underutilized. What I have seen, at least in my limited wisdom and experience, a lot of hospitals, they come up with a huge amount of fanfare. Somebody fancy will come, cut the ribbon. There will be a lot of noise around that. Only to, see later, after say 3-4 years, what we see is that, either the facilities become a little run down. If the facility is not run down, the machines stop working. If the machines are not, they don't stop working, then perhaps the people do not come. If the people they come, they want alternative jobs also. So that's the bane of our healthcare in this country. Now, given the fact that we have got shortage of infrastructure, we have got shortage of people who ought to be running the show, it's very, very important in today's times to ensure that there's a complete cohesion, complete unity between the government and the private sector. And the case in point, I'll tell you, we have seen across diagnostics, across our country, we've seen multiple, PPPs taking shape. I was privileged enough to, be part of the first PPP which happened in the state of Himachal Pradesh. And we were told that you can run the labs in parallel to the ones which are already running there. Before we actually went over there, we saw that the labs would be open for only a couple of hours. So, as you all know, it's a very treacherous, it's a hilly terrain in Himachal Pradesh. People invariably will start from their home, respective homes at 4 in the morning, reach Simla or some larger, city by 8 or 9 o'clock. And by the time they would actually come to the end of the queue, they'll realize that the lab is shut. So we're told that, between 8 to 11 a.m. you will not run the labs. Other than that, you can be, there 24/7 basis. So we actually did whatever we could, and we realized that, we can actually make a lot of difference. So it's all about, treating the patients early. It's all about, diagnosing the people before, treating them, and the treatment has to start at an early stage. So PPP, I think, is the way forward. There are so many, as I said, there's a wonderful infrastructure that we have in the country. Somebody needs to, really milk it, or as we say, sweat the asset. The only thing is, the only bottleneck which I feel in today's time is the trust deficit. There's a huge amount of trust deficit between the government functionaries, especially at the hospital level, be it the worthy doctors, or the technicians, the people generally who are working in healthcare, and the private sector. And just to buttress my point, I can tell you that the price points at which most of the PPs are being run, sometimes I wonder, there'll be a time when probably private players will have to pay money out of their own pocket to run the show. So, I don't know, but I feel that if it is not just about the coverage, it's also about the outcomes and the accuracy of results. Perhaps this partnership can really go a long way, and we can make the requisite difference in our country.
Thank you, sir. Very interesting point. And I think regarding the pricing and the PPPs, we need another session to discuss that. It's a very long conversation, but thankful for all your points. So coming to you, Dr. Reena, and firstly, it's very nice to have you here, and thanks for taking the time. And my first question to you is the elephant in the room. and that is ever evolving in diagnostics, and that is technology. So if we go back 26 years, I only heard from my parents that we were featured in the 𝗬𝗏𝗧𝗏 World Book of Records in 1997 for being the first lab to upload reports on the web. When they told me this, I laughed and I said, "Acha, iske liye record bhi hota hai." So now, from that day till today, where we have amazing things like that day I was reading about a smart toilet that actually measures the various analytes in your urine and then gives an alarm to the wearables that we have, to the Apple Watches, to point-of-care devices, to this new chatbot I found last night. It's called Glassdoor.ai. So it is crazy actually. You put in any symptom that will give you a differential diagnosis. So this field with technology is ever evolving and super exciting. But how do you see the role of technology evolving in the field of diagnostics in India and in the coming years? And what impact, ma'am, would you think this will have on the way diseases are detected and treated?
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that these are exciting times for diagnostics, especially because diagnostics has been the epicenter for major innovations and disruptive technologies. And I think amidst healthcare milieu today, where a higher digital adoption is the new normal, it sets the stage for diagnostics to leverage all these technologies and the digital tech to be able to move the healthcare management from, say, reactive to a proactive care. And I think that would be one of the center points of how diagnostics would be in this healthcare management setup. On technologies, you already kind of referred to some. And the ones which probably come top of mind, aside from digital technologies, is artificial intelligence, sequencing technologies, and of course connected wearables, Internet of Things, big data analytics. And all of these together kind of make the stage for predictive healthcare. I would probably put today's setting for healthcare as the practice of 4 Ps. And when I say 4 Ps, it is preventive, predictive, participatory, and personalized. And we have seen during COVID, how along with thermometers, the pulse oximeters, wearable devices, oximeter centers, sensors, made their way into the homes of patients. Patients were aware of what biomarkers to offer for predicting how their disease would progress. And actually this formed a bridge to healthcare, especially in a resource-limited setting where at that time physical outreach, hospital infra was not there. We found this bridging that gap, and I think more and more this is how it is going to be. Patient becomes the center of healthcare delivery. Patient becomes more participative in how they will, look at their own health records, which are digitized. They see the trends. They could be algorithmic alerts which come to the patient on monitoring when they need to reach out to their own healthcare provider or the clinician. And on the personalized medicine front, I think we've seen the best examples in oncology and cancer, where say 40 years ago, when we discovered the translocation ABNL-RARA for leukemias, it changed the survival rate from a 0% to an 80%. And that's exactly what, say, companion diagnostics would do, where genomic signatures would, take over, make sure that we deliver targeted therapies to patients, personalized to them, and that's, so I think, very, very exciting times indeed. And the patient will continue to be at the center rather than the physician.
Thank you, Dr. Nakra. Very interesting points, and I really would like to elaborate on the AI point also. I'll come to Kabir for that. But first to Aakaar. So, Aakaar, firstly, thanks for being here, and it's amazing having you discussing this with us. So, since your specialization is in the field of radiology, my question to you would be about the current challenges in the imaging in India. Now obviously you must be aware we just recently became the most populous country, and obviously penetrating these tier 2, tier 3 cities, rural areas, etc. again is a huge challenge. Also radiology comes with a huge capex. So if you're putting a senior and MRI, you have to look at the amount of capex also that is involved in that. Most importantly, when we look at the globe and when we look at India, here almost all OPD expenses are out of pocket. Whereas you look at Europe, you look at America, you even look at Dubai, there is nothing known as out of pocket expenses. So I think that makes the journey of the patient much more seamless. So what according to you are these challenges, and from a priority point of view, which would probably be the 1, 2 or 3 challenges that you see and all of us have to work together to combat?
So, diagnostic imaging industry has undergone a paradigm shift, especially after the COVID-19, and it's a hugely capital-intensive industry. So it requires huge cost. So adding to this, most of the high-end equipments are purchased from abroad, maybe from the US, Germany, in Europe, and also from China. So a lot of this depends on the exchange rate. When the dollar increases, the price of the machines also increases, as well as the heavy taxes that are put on these machines. So about 10 years ago, the taxes were almost in the range of 9 to 10%, which has increased to about 25 to 30%. So that's a heavy cost to pay. Apart from that, even GST has to be paid up front by all the diagnostic centers or the people who purchase these machines. But since we are part of the medical sector, we cannot claim the tax input credit on that. So GST is additional cost to us. Also, there is increased proliferation of pre-owned equipments, and there is no standardization on that. So many people are going in for these pre-owned machines or the second-hand machine, also known as refurbished machines. And in radiology, since it is highly capital intensive, there is a high obsolescence risk. That is, every now and then the vendors with a newer technology or a software which becomes obsolete, and the existing technology becomes obsolete, and then the user is forced into purchasing this newer equipments, and the change between these technologies is very minimal. So the obsolescence risk is very high. I feel that these are the most important challenges that the industry is facing currently. A few of the things which I feel that can be done for countering these challenges are that the industry leaders or the key opinion leaders must get together and must approach the government to alleviate these taxation issues. And also we must promote or at least initiate the process of manufacturing in India so that the cost of these heavy high-end equipments reduces. Bodies such as IRIA should also try to have a standard procedure, standard protocol in place for the service providers. For example, these pre-owned equipments, there has to be some standards that have to be followed. Because all these pre-owned equipments, eventually the diagnostic quality of the images that come out reduces. The patient may even face increased radiation, and also even the electricity consumption increases of all these equipments. We must also look at AI-based solutions. For example, the negative or the normal reports could be passed on with these AI-based softwares, whereas the radiologist can spend more time in focusing on the positive cases and develop some niche specialities. Also, the users must spend more time and have discussions with the vendors or the suppliers to increase the useful lifespan of the existing machinery, so as to get a better value from them. And my last point would be, in this topic, my last point would be that the focus should be to do more with less. That is, there should be an efficient increase in the throughput.
Thank you, Aakaar. Very interesting points, and I love that obsolete points also, because we do see that with even pathology instruments that we bought, and then suddenly the vendor comes out with a higher model, and recently I was going through the nanopore and how it has affected the current sequences that we have. So interesting. Thank you. So Kabir, coming to you. And so if you have any comments on Aakaar's points or otherwise, we would really like to learn your immense experience first after having worked in Spain and now here in a beautiful integrated center. And what are the significant advances in technology that you have seen emerge in the past few years, and the way that disease is detected or managed, and also what do you think that in the next few years, what is exciting and coming up that all of us should look forward to? So your point on this, please.
Thanks Arjun, and thanks to the VOH team for having me. I think ma'am also said, Aakaar said, sir said, diagnostics in India is at a very great stage. There is so much exciting work happening, and there is so much impact that we all can create. Of course, whatever we do now is probably very small amount of what can be done thanks to the new technologies that are coming in. As Aakaar pointed to artificial intelligence, I mean that is the one big technology that we are all very hopeful for, and we do see more and more of it even in our daily clinical routine. I would like to differentiate it in 2 points. One is the more clinical aspect, the other is the operational aspect. So on the clinical front, I do believe we are at a stage where at least a chest X-ray does not need a radiologist anymore. Especially as Aakaar said, normal chest X-rays, you really don't need a radiologist now. 50% of all chest X-rays essentially are normal, and if that can be filtered out, it's a huge volume, especially in the far-flung remote areas where daily wage earners might have to go twice or thrice to get a report for a chest X-ray. If they can be given a report in 15 minutes thanks to AI, that will be of huge impact. Then another aspect of clinical is screening programs. In our country, even now we don't have government mandated or even insurance mandated screening programs for lung cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer. I think we are all seeing cancers come in at a very late stage. Yes, there is now machinery available that is mobile, that can go into rural areas, get the breast X-ray done, detect for, get a chest X-ray done for TB, but we just don't have enough radiologists to report. But now with artificial intelligence coming in, I think it can play a huge role in the screening programs, because there are very accurate and robust algorithms which can detect abnormalities, and therefore treatment decisions can be made at a much earlier stage, and for sure it does have an impact on the overall quality of life, survival. The other aspect is the operational part, where even now the artificial intelligence based technologies are coming so deeply embedded within the equipment for positioning of patients. It takes a few minutes for each CT scan patient to be positioned. We do have one such machine in our center in Jaipur, where the patient just has to lie down and the machine will position itself. So that saves a lot of time in a very busy center. So there are such technologies available that can help us in streamlining our operational flows and really impact the quality of the scan, the quality of the patient experience. Hello. And of course we can do much more patients than what we were doing previously. The other is in public-private partnerships. If we are to do a public-private partnership focused on quality, I think such technologies have a huge role. If I can do even 5 more MRIs with the same level of quality thanks to such technologies, I think it can really make a huge impact on quality as we go. So Arjun, these are some of the thoughts that we had, and I think we are all in for a very exciting time, especially personalized medicine, personalized treatment, thanks to the onset of nuclear medicine, PET-CT, genomics coming all together for targeted treatments with theranostics. I think that is another separate discussion that one could have.
So Kabir, super insightful as always. And I completely agree with you that when we talk about AI and we say that okay, AI has a big role in the analytical segment, but in the operational segment as well, like you said, the machine will adjust you to the patient. That is fantastic. Even with your example of the PPPs where Sanjeev sir were also saying that costing is always an issue. If you have such kind of a platform, obviously that will help to reduce the costing also immensely. So thanks Kabir for that. So sir, coming back to you. And so sir, when we was also speaking about personalized medicine, then there is also something that is called personalized care. I think both of these, one again analytical, the other operational, and I think with your kind of an organization now so far spread out and also doing an amazing job in tier 2, tier 3 rural areas, how do you address the personalized care bit with maybe soft skill training? And what about the personalized medicine part, and what do you feel that is going to lie in the years ahead?
A very interesting question. You have played around with personalized care and personalized medicine. I quite like it. So see, a lot has been written and spoken about personalized medicine, personalized diagnostics. Dr. Nakra, Dr. Reena just mentioned a bit about personalized medicine. And if I have to tell you that it has really revolutionized the patient management at individual level. If you see, now we are able to make bespoke or tailor-made kind of solutions as far as the individuals are concerned, because we take the genetic makeup, look at the genetic makeup of the patient, we look at the history, the medical history which is with us, and various other factors. I think we are very, very well equipped really to look at diagnosing the patient at the genetic level. Now I'll take you back about 15 years, 16 years back when I was on a panel discussion such as this one, and we had a few doctors, very, very accomplished doctors with me, and the moderator, he asked in his 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗑𝗏, what is your thought about molecular diagnostics or genetic testing and all? And one of the guys who was rather candid in his views, he said that, look, there's something we know about genes, genetics, etc., etc. Since we have not learned it, I don't have much of say in that. So perhaps we have really evolved from that time on. Today, at least as Dr. Reena just mentioned, at least in the onco space, we have seen immense use of personalized medicine, personalized diagnostics. So we're going down to the genetic level, and not just that much. I think even what we see is that if you are able to go down to the gene level, identify certain predispositions, you are able to really manage the disease very well. You are able to take prevention before actually disease really hits you in a big way. And it is not just also limited to the treatment or the diagnosis part, where this manufacturing of medicines is concerned. You're looking at the chronic disease and all, how you maintain the patient around that continuum. You look at creation of vaccines, etc., etc. And the use of personalized medicine is very immense. Now coming to the latter part of the question about the personalized care, that's a difficult bit, because while you can train the people, about various aspects, protocols, systems, etc., one thing which has to come from within is the attitude and that sense to alleviate the pain from the faces of the patient. Now that's something very, very personal, and what we do is, I think we try our level best to train the people. We have got this program, what we call as 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Each and every incumbent who is joining the company, because as you rightly mentioned, today we are spread across 26 states with 85 labs and about 2,500 collection centers which are exclusive to us. I think it's an onerous task to really bring everybody together and make them understand the relevance of what patient centricity is all about. So we impart soft skills not just once in that program called 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Every 3-4 months we give them a kind of a orientation program, do a lot of quizzes and 2 role plays and all. So that is our way to little attempt to really make some difference in the for the people who are actually in the tier 3, tier down, tier 4 tier cities, because clearly it's a very price sensitive market. Not many people are really appreciating the quality that we try to give. Our idea is to really give them an experience where they are able to identify the difference between A lab and a B lab, where you are not just looking at all the gadgetry, removes the large analyzers that we keep in our labs, but also as a post-test labs there.
Thank you, sir. So very interesting. And I think we are running out of time, so I'll quickly go to Dr. Reena as well. So, ma'am, now we've seen, and one thing that's always fascinated me about Lal is that whenever we are looking for any esoteric or super specialized test and no one else is doing it, and then we find out that Lal is doing it, so that gives a great sense of pride as well. That there is an IVD firm, the leading IVD firm that actually has now tests that might not even be available in the West or in the US, etc. Like fields like functional medicine, for example, are ever evolving. I feel really that is the future, and might it be organic acids testing, or it might be anything else that is providing more insights to the functional medicine practitioners, and might it be proteomics, might it be so how do you see the various fields or the various specializations in which these tests are done? Which fields do you feel are still yet to be further test menu perspective? And if there's something exciting that's coming up that you could share with us also.
So, yeah, thank you, I think, for that question, because it makes me kind of go back to at least bring out what we've already in new technologies worked with, and then share as to how we have been able to gain use of. And I probably, AI as one technology, and of course, AI gets layered on digitized material only. And to have that, the backbone would be digital histopathology is one, because out of some medical specialities, I think, pattern recognition lends itself easy to the use of AI. And that's why pathology and radiology are two fields that naturally lend themselves to AI technologies. And on this, we did use digital histopath, and like it was already referred to, affordable, accessible care, and to penetrate further into parts of India. And the shortage of trained histopathologists. So we were able to kind of unhinge the expertise of histopathologists from the geographical location by use of digital histopath. So, nearer to the patient, being able to use digital histopathology for peer review, quick, kind of expertise transfer. People who are more experts in a subject matter could provide their view on the digitized histopathology slides. But also, I think, is example of this where we have not really kind of dwelled upon is that tissue is always an issue. Like we say, it's very precious because today molecular diagnostics, genomics, all are anchored on the tissue. While there are newer techniques which are coming from like the liquid biopsy, where from the whole blood also we are able to take out the DNA, RNA and sequence. But the tissue as such is something, and when we digitize slides for peer review, patients do not really need to get a slide section again or destroy tissue just to take a peer review or a second opinion. A digitized slide with whole slide imaging can do that. So that's one important area that we actually worked with. Then we've also used AI layered on that. Formats of AI, clinical decision AI, where we have used it for prostate and breast cancer. We have seen huge improvement in, with expert people also there is an improvement in accuracy, because AI need not be treated as, say, an add-on. It's like a team member. It triages the slides for you. It tells you where exactly it is. It concentrates your expertise and your time on slides that really need your opinion. So it brings out that quantified data, especially for like breast cancer IHC markers. We being able to kind of take that, quantify them accurately, and that's very beneficial for patients. I think we are running short of time.
Yes, that's what I was asking.
We could go on this.
Do we have 5 minutes or 2-3 minutes? 5 minutes, great, very generous. Great. So Aakaar, my next question is to you. And so I do hear that you are a very famous ultrasonologist, and people from Delhi come and specifically asked that, okay, Dr. Aakaar has to do or something like that's really cool and very fun. But where do you feel that this personalized touch that you provide to patients when they are coming to you, and with the rise of AI and machine learning, like what Dr. Reena said, that obviously someone who is completely AI will replace doctors, but any doctor who is using AI will replace a doctor who is not. So where between this personalized touch, where your legacy also stands for, and between AI and machine learning, what role do you observe neurologists would play in the coming years?
So, thank you, Arjun, for the kind words. So, I do get a lot of scans reported where the doctors or the patients want to get reported